Coming up on today's broadcast, we'll look back at a season-opening 41-13 home win over Southern Illinois, BYU's 5th consecutive season-opening victory, improving the Cougars' all-time record against FCS opponents to 19-0. Our guests today are special teams coordinator Kelly Poppinga and offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick. And we kick off today's show with BYU's special teams coach and defensive ends coach, Kelly Poppinga. Good to see you once again.
Great to be back, like always.
All right. One of the coaches we visit with on this show is defensive coordinator Jay Hill, and he'll be back here next week. Saturday night, he was back at LaVell Edwards Stadium following a very eventful Thursday and Friday for him and all of you. What an emotional game week for BYU football. Yeah,
it's crazy. We show up Friday, and to our knowledge, everything was okay, and then we have a staff meeting, and Kalani tells us that Jade had some health issues, and that he was not going to coach in the game. And we didn't know really any details other than that, just that he was not going to coach and he had some things he was dealing with. And then later on in the day, Jay told us what was happening, what he's going through. And so yeah, as a defensive staff and as a whole staff and a program, we rallied together and we're able to, come together and just do what we needed to do to get our guys ready for the game and then be able to call the game. And so Kalani and then Justin Enna really took the reins of that on defense of just getting ready to call the game. And yeah, it turned out great. I thought we communicated well. Jay was still there. He communicated a little bit with us on the headset, which is pretty crazy. But it was good to just have him in the box and have him at the game. And I think the players were excited, as you guys could see there prior to the game. And then after the game as well, he was down on the field. And so, yeah, we're just happy he's healthy and well. And I'm sure his wife is as well. But yeah, it was kind of a scary deal there for a minute, but it all turned out good for everybody.
I like how the hugs are just a little bit gentler there. How do you think everyone kind of handled the reset, though? Because that was kind of okay, we got to fix a few things, get a few things changed up for a game like 24 hours later.
Yeah, I think everybody handled it well. I think the guys were so prepared for the game anyway. When it being your first game, you're studying this opponent all off season, and then you have really some extra practices that you don't typically have preparing for other games throughout the year. And so I just think our guys felt extremely prepared. Really, Greg, you probably could have come and called the game and we would have been just fine, right? So I think that's how well the players were prepared. It was just good to see that, all of us were ready to go and we executed well. I thought defensively we stuck to the game plan and we executed well. We had, minimal missed tackles, minimal errors, which helped us keep some points off the board.
Yeah, I'll stick to my headset and you stick to yours. But I'll tell you, one of my secret wishes is to one day hear what happens on a college football coaching headset in the course of a game. It'd be fascinating.
Yeah, there's some stuff that's really fun and some stuff that's not so fun. So it's hopefully we stay a little more even keel. But I would say on Saturday with just hearing Coach Hill and being in the press box, you're out of the emotion of the game. And so you could tell he was way calmer. Not that he's crazy if he's on the sideline, but you could just tell he was way more calm, and probably had to do with maybe some of the medication he was on. But I think you get out of the emotion of the game. You can see things better. You can call things better. You can communicate things better. Where on the field, it's a little more chaotic. And so I think for him, I think he realized, man, I'm going to try to do this the rest of the season because it's going to help him, just be able to be more calm, lower the stress levels, and I think help him just, visualize things a lot better.
As far as you know, things more or less back to normal for him and the staff this week in terms of roles and responsibilities?
Yeah, he was in this morning, and our game planning was as usual, and so we'll see. I don't think he'll be staying as late as some of us, but he still needs to get rest. But yeah, we're game planning and on our way off to SMU and getting that whole thing done. So,
well, truly a best case scenario. All right, let's get into the game a bit. From Saturday, BYU, when they win a coin toss, Kalani always defers, and you won the coin toss, so the defense got the first chance to set a tone on Saturday night.
Yeah, it was great to come out and really get a 3-and-out to start the game, and I thought our guys started off fast. That was the really emphasis. There's two emphases we had this season defensively. Number one, we got to be able to start fast, whatever we're doing, because we know that Kalani likes to defer and defense likes to come out. And then number two, we had to get off the field on third down. And we were not great a year ago on third down. To be able to be close to, I think, 33% in this game on third down, which is really good. And being able to get some pressure on the quarterback, we hit him a lot. I think we ended up with 2 sacks, close to 3. There was one that was right on the line of scrimmage that could have been a third. But it was good to get after him early. And then there's some QB run game stuff that got us a little bit there, and one for a touchdown that we'll fix. But for the most part, I thought we played really clean.
Yeah, one of 4 defensive 3-and-outs BYU would have on the night came in that opening sequence. Those first few plays, kind of a feeling out process, but they did gain only 3 yards in 3 plays. So you opened the game the way you wanted to, absolutely.
Yeah, and we thought as well that they were going to start with a fade ball and to test one of our corners. They tried to
on first down.
On first down, tried to test Mark and threw it deep and overthrew him. And I thought Mark was in a really good position there on that first play.
This is that first play, right?
There it is.
Yep.
And then, I thought our free safety got over there as well, Tanner, who I thought played well on defense and on special teams. But and then, they come out on second down. We do a good job on stopping the run. And then third down, feels some pressure, wants to step up in the pocket. And then Jack does a great job coming back on a blitz that we had designed there for these guys. And so, it was fun to see the guys execute so quickly, so fast. And then it just stayed pretty consistent throughout the whole entire game.
Their new starting quarterback, DJ Williams, Murray State transfer, ended up being their best weapon on the night. 6 rushes of 10 yards or longer in this game. What were you expecting from him coming into the game?
Yeah, I think, we had watched film from him from the year before, and we saw that he was a good runner, that he could scramble, and that there were going to be some QB design run stuff. And so we knew that was going to be something that they wanted to do. I think what we could have done a better job of is just fitting up the run better, as far as they had some pulling scheme, some gap scheme things that we didn't fit up real well, especially on the touchdown. One of our guys didn't spill one of the pullers to make the ball bounce, and he was able to crease us. And so between that and QB draw and scramble, we just got to be better open field tacklers. Like we see Micah right there, that's a really good open field tackle by him, but we just got to be able to beat blocks up front faster, and we got to make these guys pay. Like at the end of the day, quarterbacks are going to keep running if we're not tackling them. And we got to be able to tackle these guys low and make them question if this is something they want to continue to do, and we got to do a better job at that.
You also credit the player, though. He's an exciting athlete.
Yeah, good athlete. He does a great job. He's going to be a really good player for them, and I think in their conference they're going to do some damage in the FCS for sure.
SIU's second drive stalled after getting behind the sticks, and they got off schedule thanks to that athletic sack from Isaiah Banya, one of your guys, created a second and 21 on that second series.
Yeah, that was a great move by Isaiah. He, initially kind of tried a little power move and then got to the edge of them and then really out-efforted them right there, and really good job tripping them up. And yeah, that was a big loss right there. I think a loss of 11 or 12.
It was.
And, second and long, that's, really, really hard down for offenses to be in. That's what we want to be in. But, yeah, really good move by Isaiah. I thought he played one of his better games for BYU and played physical in the run game and really had one play, the touchdown play. That was the one play where I told him, man, you would have almost played a perfect game if we just get underneath that block and spill it and make the ball bounce. But I thought he played well. He had a couple other plays. I thought in general the DNs played well. And I thought the front between Blake and Batty and John Nelson, I thought all those guys played really physical up front. We really, I thought, owned the line of scrimmage the whole entire game.
Yeah, really impactful game that way. The offense, meantime, they get you out to a 14-0 lead on 2 drives, on 2 scores. That kind of lead can positively impact how a defense goes about its business and calls its game, too.
Oh, yeah, completely, yeah. When you're on defense and you have a lead, things change completely because the offense now has to decide if they want to play catch up or stick to their plan. And so, obviously a defensive coach always wants to play defense from with a lead like that. And so, I felt like they were going to be on fire the whole entire game. We could feel that confidence coming from our offense when they were coming off the sideline. And I just think in general, our whole team was very confident going into this game. And I don't know, it being Southern Illinois and an FCS team, but I just thought the preparation that these guys put in from going all the way back to spring ball to now, I thought it's one of the better teams I've been around, just the way that they prepared.
Good momentum carried into the second quarter in this one. The first hiccup came in unexpected fashion because Will Farron had been perfect in his BYU career inside 44 yards. He gets a try from 36. What did you see live and in review on this particular kick?
Yeah, Will came right off the field and he said, "Coach, I'm good. I towed the ball." Meaning he hit it more with his toe than he did with actually his foot. And he said, "I'm good. I'm fine. I know exactly what happened." So great snap, great hold. He just got a little bit more toe on it than he usually does, and the protection was great as well. But then what I loved is the very next kick, we come back at, right at the end of the half. Our offense does a great 2-minute drive, gives them a chance to kick a 50-yarder, and he drills that thing. And so that's a sign of a great kicker right there. And so he knew exactly what he needed to fix. And then when he had the opportunity to do it again, he put the ball through the uprights to give us that, 17 points going into the half.
Before that 50-yarder happened, we had what would be the most controversial play of the game. It came with SIU on offense. It was called a 43-yard completion, but shouldn't have been called a catch. You could see that the ball hit the ground on the big screen. It's ruled a completed catch, but there was no review on this. Now, to their credit, they snapped the ball quickly enough that kind of nothing could happen. But that was at the moment, that was a big play.
Yeah, and those are always tough ones right there where, you know, the play is happening so fast, and you know the officials really he's kind of blocked by the receiver's body right there, so that's a really tough call for him. But that's why we have instant replay. And so we're just wondering why didn't it get stopped? And later on in the game, you know, we have another one that doesn't go our way. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you know, that's kind of out of our control, and we had still an opportunity to stop them right there, and really that was, you know, another quarterback run that we had a missed tackle on, one of the few missed tackles that we had in the game. And so yeah, it was good to get our backs against the wall like that, because it's not always going to be perfect, and so we got to get our guys to respond better in that situation. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we don't want to keep it in the hands of the officials, right? We want to make a play there right there on the ball, and then make a play later in that drive, so we're at least holding them to a field goal.
They missed the PAT, so it was 14-6, but a little bit of momentum lost, which made that Will Farron kick, I thought, so huge and so important. Comes right, and by the way, credit to Coach A-Rod and the offense for going the distance they had to do to set it up. But you get a career-long 50-yarder from Will Farron that gives you a shot in the arm at the break. Yeah, no, it was great. Like I said before, I thought our offense did a great job. I think there was like 46 seconds left in the half right there. And they drive right down, get the ball in field position. I feel confident with Will anywhere with the ball, you know, on the 45-yard line out. He can hit 60-yarders pretty easy, so especially in our stadium. So I felt very confident once we got to that midfield range right there, we were going to be able to get an opportunity to get the ball through the uprights right there. And so, you know, it's been something, you practice that in spring ball, you practice that in fall camp, and we executed that 2-minute drill very well. Big kick and good for him. Coming up, we'll finish our look back at BYU and SIU as we hit some second half highlights and spotlight a few standout individuals as well. As we head to break, a reminder to join Dave McCann and former Cougars Blaine Fowler and David Nixon tomorrow night. Brand new episode of AFR. After further review, they'll break down BYU SIU. Look ahead to SMU. That's tomorrow, 7 o'clock Eastern on the BYUtv app and ESPN+. When we come back, more with Coach Kelly Poppinga as the Coordinator's Corner continues. Brought to you by JCW's The Burger Boys. We're back.
Coordinator's Corner is presented by JCW's The Burger Boys and Intermountain Health, official medical provider for BYU Athletics.
Back on the Coordinator's Corner, visiting with Special Teams Coordinator and Defensive Ends Coach Kelly Poppinga. Offensive Coordinator Aaron Roderick is still to come. BYU now 1-0 on the season after a 41-13 home win over Southern Illinois on Saturday night. Sellout crowd of 63,000 plus. Just thoughts on that. FCS opponent coming in, and I could tell from the start this would be a big crowd. It was filled in all the way to the corners, sea of royal blue. What a great atmosphere. Yeah, it was fun to show up when I walked out for warm-ups and already saw the Rock full, so I was like, holy cow, this is awesome, you know. So I'm sure those guys showed up too as well, those that Southern Illinois program, and saw, man, there's more fans here an hour before the game than they'll probably have at any home game this year. And so pretty impressive. I mean, just our fan base, the way that they love football, they're passionate for it. The production David Almodovan, his crew puts on is unbelievable. That fourth quarter deal that they do is awesome. Our guys were super fired up for that. Just brings the energy, and just, you know, especially on third down, the crowd was getting really rowdy. And, you know, I did feel that it was a little quiet at kickoff. I'm like, why is this quiet at kickoff? Right? Not the actual kickoff. Like later on, after we scored touchdowns, we were kicking off. I'm like, man, this is some of the quietest I've ever heard. Like fans were they're saving it for Kansas State. There we go. Saving it for Kansas State, which is good. I'm happy. But to see that place packed, first game of the year, it's fun. Special place. Largest crowd ever to see an SIU game outside the state of Illinois, by the way. All right, you're up 17-6 at halftime. Offense opens the second half the way they did the first half. 2 drives, 2 scores. And so, again, they're doing their job, right? Now, and then the one possession SIU got between those 2 offensive drives, they try to fake punt. Yeah. And so this goes into your wheelhouse. Let's look at the fake punt attempt and how BYU stopped it. So we knew going into the game, they, I think, had 3 or 4 fake punts that they had tried the year before. And so it was major emphasis in the meetings leading up to it. And Tanner, he's like our quarterback of the punt return team. So he said that Tanner Wall. Yeah, Tanner Wall right there, 28, and then Crew Wakely 7. They said when they got up to the cadence right there to the ball,
they were giving a different cadence than what they had done on the previous punts. And so immediately they started calling, hey, watch the fake, watch the fake, watch the fake. And they sniffed it out, and Tanner made a really good open field tackle. And so on punt return, what people don't understand is the fake is always there. What people don't understand, because you're always down a number because the returner's back. So you're always down a defender. And so you can design a fake. It's just now if you have the guts to call the fake, because they should work just based upon the amount of defensive players they have up there. And so they had us by number. They had everybody blocked up, but Tanner made a really good play right there to be able to give us great field position.
Did you feel it could be coming on that play?
No, not at all. I thought, shoot, 31-6. There's no shot. They were backed up a little bit. I think it was 4th and 12 or something. It was a long distance, and so I just thought I'd even expect it at that time. I thought if the down and distance was a little bit shorter, but great job by Tanner.
But your players caught the cadence, and they were making an adjustment on the fly to it.
Yeah, that was all the players right there, and they came off and they were fired up. I mean, that's just like a turnover right there. So you don't get a turnover in the stat sheet, but that's just like getting another turnover. For any 4th down stop is like just another takeaway on the for a defensive player. That's how we played out for them.
The last score SIU would have, you're up 31-6 when it happens. It was that really nice scamper from DJ Williams. Might have been his long run of the night for the touchdown, I think, and that was the last time they would score.
Yeah, and this is something I already talked about earlier before. I don't know if we have the video on this, but if you watch the play, Isaiah Bagna, he's got 13 right there. He's got to get underneath that block. If he gets underneath that block and makes the ball bounce right there, we're going to tackle that thing. Maybe for 10 yards is as much as he's going to get. And so it just goes back to run fits. And you can't be off, especially against a QB, a guy that runs like he does. He'll find any space. And so, yeah, if Isaiah gets underneath that block right there, and then I think we had a backer that needed to scrape over. Those two things happen, but that thing's dead in the water. So we can, clean up our run fits on that play right there.
We thought BYU had forced a turnover in the closing seconds of the third quarter. Looked like a fumble. Yeah. And it was ruled on the field a fumble, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they overturned it to an incomplete pass.
Yeah.
It was another one that kind of had us scratching our heads up in the booth.
It was pretty funny. One of our GAs, Hayden Livingston, said, oh, there's no doubt this is a fumble, guys. This is like the easiest call in the history of football, because he's like exchanging his hands right there. You can see it. He has it in his left hand, tries to put it in his right hand. The thing I do love about this play, though, if you just look at all the blue jerseys that are around the ball, the way that we're pursuing to the ball, the effort we have to the ball right there, I thought our guys played extremely hard in this game. And there's 6, 7, 8, 9 guys around the ball right there, which is just shows you the type of effort our guys are playing with. And unfortunately, just ball didn't bounce our way on that play right there, but that would have been nice to set our offense up. But I think right after that happened, we held them to a punt, and I think they ended up shanking a punt, and we still had the ball on our side of the 50-yard line.
And so you didn't get the play you wanted there in terms of the takeaway, but you did get a takeaway for the game. The last drive featuring DJ Williams when he stayed in the game ended with the game's lone takeaway. Jacob Robinson gets career interception number 9 on this night. Yeah,
Jacob's he's a special player and has a knack for the ball, and one of the best corners I've seen of playing the ball. And so, does a really good job of being physical with the receiver and gets off of him just in time before the ball gets in the air, because any contact with the ball in the air, that would have been a PI. But just really good job just getting his hands on, collisioning the route, and then getting his eyes back and finding the ball, and makes a big play happen right there. So happy for Jacob. He's a really good player. That's an exceptional play.
That's how you do it right there.
And just the ball skills that he has, a lot of people don't understand how hard that is to make that play right there. And so love the excitement right there by Marcus McKenzie too as well. That's fun to see the sideline always getting hyped up for their teammates.
And Marcus, who we know is a special teams guy, got some corner time in on the night as well.
Yeah, it was good to see Marcus. He had been a little banged up even during fall camp, had a little bit of an injury and got back right near the end. And so I think we'll see a little bit more of him at corner. But he's a great special teams player. He was a starter on all of those. On kickoff, punt return, really didn't have any chance to cover any punts in the game, but we'll be ready to see what he can do this week if those opportunities come.
SIU's backup QB led a couple of 3-and-outs to end the game. BYU wins at 41-13. Lots to like about this one, I thought, Coach, including the fact that a lot of young defensive players got meaningful reps and made plays in this game for you as well.
Yeah, I think we played over 40 players on defense, something like that, something crazy like that. So, and a lot of that came late in the game once they pulled their starter, I think we were comfortable putting some of these other guys that probably wouldn't even have had a chance, that weren't initial, second or third string guys. But especially in my group, I was able to play 7 defensive ends, which I don't know if I've ever done that before. And all those guys are really good players. And so it's always good. Practice reps are one thing, but when you get game reps, that changes everything. And so be able to see Vil Puha get in there for 3 plays, and Efren Officiata played early in the game and did some really good stuff in the pass rush, but I think he ended up with 10 or 11 plays on the game, and he showed up and is a guy that we'll continue to see in the rotation.
So you mentioned those 2 guys plus Isaiah, Bodie Schoonover, of course, Batty and Latui, and then Orion Maile Kafuse becomes your 7th, I think, on that night.
Yep. And he came in late in the game and had an opportunity to get a sack and did the wrong thing. If he just does his job, he has a shot to get the sack right near the end of the game, but it's okay. You live and learn.
Let's get to players of the week. Let's go defensive first of all. Defensive players of the week. We picked a trio of Cougars on this one. Jacob Robinson, Blake Mangelson, and John Nelson on the defensive side.
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, I thought John and Blake did a great job just dominating the front.
The defensive tackles.
Yeah, defensive tackles. And really, Batty was involved in that as well, and so was Logan, and so was Isaiah. Just the production, maybe not as what we wanted to be players of the game, but Jacob for sure, just lockdown corner. I don't know how many balls he had completed on him in that game, but I know that he's going to be a hard guy to throw to. I think quarterbacks are going to want to try to throw to the other side, and so we'll see how many times he gets tested this week. But just those guys played well, and there's a number of other guys that we could have named, but those 3 were the guys that stood out.
Okay, Jacob Robinson, Blake Mangelson, John Nelson, defensive players of the week. Special teams player of the week for you. Who'd you like?
Yeah, I love Tanner Wall. Tanner's a great leader for us on special teams. He loves it. He's passionate for it. That play he made on the fake. And then he's on our punt team. He's on our punt return team. And a guy that I love having out there because I know he cares, and I know that he's going to go out there and make plays like he's doing right here. And so I was excited to see him do that. And if Will makes his kick, he's probably player of the week, but couldn't give it to a guy that missed a field goal inside the 40-yard line. And Will knows that, and he gets it. And so, I'm excited about the crew of guys that I have on special teams, as deep as I've had anywhere I've been coaching, and look forward to seeing us do even better this week in special teams.
All right, when we come back, we'll look ahead to Friday night's short week showdown at SMU. Speaking of which, this Friday, tune in to Cougar Pregame Live on BYU Radio, starting at 5 Eastern, 3 Mountain, as the Cougars meet the Mustangs of SMU. As we go to break, a reminder that dinner after the game at JCW's includes something for everybody, from burgers to wings, shakes to salads. JCW's quality, and a lot of it, in Lehigh, American Fork, Provo, South Jordan, and Harriman. Coming up next, final segment with BYU Special Teams Coordinator Kelly Poppinga. You're in the Coordinator's Corner, brought to you by JCW's The Burger Boys. Final segment in our first half hour of the show, visiting with BYU Special Teams Coordinator and Defensive Ends Coach Kelly Poppinga, and putting the capper on Saturday's 41-13 home win over Southern Illinois. Let's take a look ahead now to game number 2 for BYU Cougs and SMU Mustangs on Friday night. This preview of BYU at SMU brought to you by Intermountain Health, official medical provider for BYU Athletics. All right, Mustangs 2-0. After a 59-7 home win over Houston Christian, their FCS opponent on Saturday night. SMU won at Nevada in their opener the previous week, so that's how they get to 2-0. Preston Stone is the starting quarterback, but head coach Rhett Lashley using 2 signal callers right now. Kevin Jennings also playing, and both guys are producing. That was a high-powered offense last year, and they look like a lot of the same this year so far. Yeah, they got some great team speed, and putting a lot of points up on the board. Obviously, we played them in the bowl game, and really run a very similar system, but they'll have some wrinkles. But their quarterbacks, I think, are both very good players. I almost called him Lindell. His brother played for us at Virginia, actually, Preston's brother, a quarterback, so I almost called his brother name. Stone?
Anyway, Stone, yeah. But he's a dynamic athlete. He can throw it. Man, he can throw it as good as anybody, really strong arm, and then we got to really respect the run game. And then Seven that comes in as well, probably a little bit more of a runner, but can throw it as well. But they got receivers everywhere. They got a tight end, number 82, that's special. I think he's one of the most talented receivers we'll probably see all year long. Maryland. Yep. Their running back runs hard, is fast. So yeah, we're going to have our hands full of just making sure we got to be great tacklers. We've got to be able to play the ball down the field. We got to be able to deal with their tempo. They're going to go fast and try to get us to, not get our call in, get us misaligned. So we're going to have to do a great job of communicating, getting aligned, and really just doing our job and doing your 1/11th and sure tacklers. So if we're great tacklers in this game, then we're going to be really good. And so, it's a great challenge. I'm excited for our guys.
The running back you're referencing, Brashard Smith, is a Miami transfer. He ran for 108 on only 9 carries on Saturday. SMU as a team ran for almost 400 against an overmatched team at home.
Yeah, they like to run the ball. If that's what you are going to give them, they're going to do that. So you would look at them and say this is an air raid team that likes to throw the ball, but if you give them the run, they will run the football. And so we got to do a great job of controlling the line of scrimmage like we did a week ago. And I feel like we did a pretty good job of that in the bowl game as well a couple years ago. So we got to do a great job of just controlling the line of scrimmage, being able to get pressure on the quarterback in the pass game and in the scramble game. And they're going to have some QB design run stuff that we're going to have to deal with. We know that. We're probably going to have to see that and deal with that until we can prove that we can stop it after last week. And so, great challenge for our guys, and it'll be fun to go down there. I know we have a great fan base down there, so it'll be fun to play in front of Cougar Nation down there in Dallas.
You bring up the bowl game from a couple of years ago. I think their place kicker in that game is still their place kicker. Colin Rogers is his name. I think he has the second most field goals already in team history. He had 20 field goals last year, career long of 52. In the opener, hit from 51 last season. Yeah. So this is one of the better kickers in the country you're going to see.
Yeah, and he has a leg on him, and so we saw that in the Nevada game. I think they tried 2 over 50 in that game. He made one and he missed one. But yeah, he's a guy. They're good on special teams. They have a dynamic returner, number 13. Sorry, I don't know the names. I just go by the numbers. But dynamic returner with him, and then their kick returner too as well is a really good one. So it'll be a great challenge for our guys. Their team speed is just like we're going to see in the Big 12. So I think it's a great challenge for our guys to get ourselves ready once we get into this Big 12 play.
They don't have a lot happening in the punt game in terms of length, but do you plan for short punts in this game because of what you've seen so far? And Parker showed the other day that you might think a guy uncorked a couple maybe that took Parker off guard.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. We were getting a bunch of short punts early in the game, and then Southern Illinois' guy really laid into one, and that's why he kind of mishandled that one. But I think it's all game plan. It's all dependent upon hang time and distance, and so that'll be something that we look at with him. I think he's a Texas transfer, the guy that came from Texas, and so just any opportunity we can to change the field position, we'll make sure that that's game planned up well and give our offense a chance to score some points.
Back to special teams for a moment. We talked about Will Farron, but the other elements of your game, whether it's Sam Vanderhaar or the snaps, Sam's holds, Parker's work, how do you think overall special teams performed in game 1?
Yeah, I thought it was a solid start. I didn't think it was as good as our offense and defense had played. I thought it was a little farther behind than those 2 phases, but we need ball security with the kick returner. If we catch that kick return where they had to kick from the 20 off of a personal foul, there's a chance that we can score on that one. And so unfortunate that we fumbled that, and then Parker's 2 mishandles as well hurt us in some field position. The one punt ended up being like a 60-yard punt. And, when you have a team that outkicks their coverage like that, you got to make them pay. And it's just, unfortunately, we mishandled those 2. So that'll be a major emphasis in our meeting that we have today, of just making sure great ball security with our punt team, or our punt return team. And then punt, we had a low snap late in the game when we were in a pin situation where we were trying to pin him inside the 10. And, I didn't like that low punt. And then we had a high snap as well on a field goal late in the game that wasn't typical of what Dalton usually does. So just a couple things here and there.
Things to clean up?
Yeah, but very pleased. We had no penalties. I love that we had no penalties on special teams. Didn't hurt our team in field position. And I thought our punt return game, late in the game, we did a really good job of getting about a 20-yard return right there that helped set up, points potentially, but our offense, I think, was in, running the clock out mode. And so, but I would say we're about a B-
okay.
is where I'd grade them, but we have a lot of room to improve for sure.
And just to reiterate, your primary returners will be Parker on punt and Keelan Marion on kickoff,
yes.
Right?
Yep, that is correct.
Operating with off returners on the kickoff. All right, short week challenge. Friday night game, some travel involved. How do things pace for you guys this week when you go to a week like this?
Yeah, so I told my guys yesterday, I said, hey, when you show up to the meetings tomorrow, when you show up to the facility, it is not Monday. Everybody in the world or in the country is celebrating Labor Day. It's actually Tuesday for us, all right? So today is...
You never had a Monday.
Yeah, there was never a Monday. Monday doesn't exist, so it's a Tuesday in our mind. So we show up today, and it's just like it was a Tuesday in a regular week. Tomorrow will be a Wednesday, and then a Thursday, and then we're off, on the plane on what is to the world Thursday, but to us in our world, it's Friday. So everybody's probably listening to me and like, what did he just say right there? I'm so confused. But in our minds, we know what's going on. But there's a lot more urgency that we have to get. You have one less day to get ready, but I think our guys will be prepared and ready to roll.
You expect heat, you expect humidity, and I know you expect to play your best. We hope that happens on Friday. Great to be with you, Coach.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, that's Coach Kelly Poppinga. Tomorrow night, join us for BYU football with Kalani Sitake as the coach. And our special guest, look back at BYU's season opening win over SIU. Watch Tuesdays, 8:30 Eastern on the BYUtv app or ESPN+. Coming up next, offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick joins us as the Coordinator's Corner continues. We're brought to you by JCW's The Burger Boys.